Hello and welcome to the TA training organisation in Leeds in the North. My name is Andy Williams. You may or may not have met me before, and I'm one of the training directors here at our organisation. And I suppose our motto, it's not very formal, I've not seen it written down anywhere, but it is about supporting people to become the best psychotherapists that they can become. To support you, I guess, in becoming the best psychotherapist that you can be. One of the big things that's happening at the TA training organisation at the moment is that a cohort of students have really reached that developmental stage where they are beginning to set up in private practice. In the last few months we've had 4, 5 or 6 people who've exited into Leeds and the surrounding area, now running successful private practices. And one of the questions that often comes up in supervision is, what about clinical notes? What is my way of thinking about clinical notes? And I want to emphasise that to you really, because what we do here is it's not about telling you or me what to do. So it's not about rules or regulations as such, it's more about supporting our learners in ways of thinking. BACP's got some good guidelines around this, and the mnemonic that I've come up with in my head is the name Carl. Let me just pop that on the board. So this is my new best mate now in terms of writing clinical notes, Carl. And the C stands for the first bit of this, which is about context. Whenever we apply this idea, we need to be thinking about the context in which you or I are working. Now, I happen to be talking about private practice today, but many of our learners are in placements, they're working for third sector organisations, they're working for charities and counselling organisations. And there may well be a local policy or procedure that is expected in terms of clinical notes. So the first thing we need to be mindful of is, what context are we working in? If we move on now to the A, this is about our clinical notes need to be adequate. And I guess they're adequate for the purpose that we are using them for. I tend to use my clinical notes to be thinking about the work that took place last week, and how am I going to develop that and move forward in the treatment plan for this week. And so my notes need to be adequate in terms of reminding me of where we've got to in the treatment sequence, in the therapy sequence. So I think about, are my notes adequate? However, I'm not going to start thinking about writing War and Peace. So they also need to be relevant. The R in Carl, they need to be relevant. And what we mean by that is that it's very important that we don't make conjecture, or we do any guesswork, or even sometimes prejudicial thinking about our clients, that the material that we record needs to be relevant and spot on in the heart of the clinical work and the contract. So just as I'm about to write down where my client's been on holiday, or what their history's been like, or what's just happened at work, is that actually relevant to put into such a formal piece of recording as their clinical notes, or should that be omitted? So is it relevant? And then finally, in our mnemonic of the name Carl, we've got the L for limited. And we need to be thinking about a boundary around our work and our clinical notes, and what's in and what's out, but also in terms of being limited, so that I'm not putting in excessive detail that is not relevant or is not pertinent to the contract and the therapy that's taking place. At best, I guess it can be disrespectful if we go outside of that limited boundary, and then at worst, it may disadvantage our client in some way by having a record of material that is just not relevant to their therapy. All of this material obviously comes under data protection legislation, so we need to be thinking about the ICO office, the Information Commissionaire's office, and also we need to be thinking about GDPR and making sure that we have very clear consent in how we're working. So I hope that's a useful little mnemonic there of Carl, and that if you're a practitioner already, you feel you can apply that. And if not, and you're thinking about a changing career and moving towards becoming a psychotherapist, perhaps in private practice, please do get in contact with us at the TA Training Org, and we'd love to be in communication with you. Thanks very much.